Hi, my name is Ram, and welcome to the series dedicated to developing Rails application from scratch. In this first episode, we'll install all required software and set up our project for development and testing. We'll write our first acceptance test and make it pass, and also we'll deploy our application to Heroku. So first of all, we need Ruby, Rails, and PostgreSQL installed. As I use macOS, I'll quickly demonstrate you how I do it, but installation of these tools are quite trivial. On Mac, I use Homebrew, so let's go to the Homebrew homepage, to the brew.sh, scroll down to the bottom right here, and copy and paste this line into a terminal. So now I can install any Ruby version manager I like. I used RVM, RBNF, and now I'm using Truby, which is very simple and minimalistic. To install it, I type brew install Truby, and I've already got it installed. Also, we need to install Ruby, and for that, we need some kind of Ruby installer. So let's brew install Ruby install. And I also got it. So now let's install the latest Ruby. For that, we do Ruby install Ruby. So that will download and compile Ruby. Now that Ruby is installed, to activate it, we just need to run the command truby ruby. And now if we run ruby-v, we can see that we're using the installed 2.1 version. Okay, so now we need to install Rails, so we do it with gem install Rails. And it will take some time. Okay, Rails is installed, so let's have a look. Rails version. I need to open new tab, and again, truby ruby. And let's see the version of the Rails 4.0. Excellent. So the last piece of software is PostgreSQL. We'll use it from the beginning because we'll deploy application to Heroku. Again, it's very easy to do it with Homebrew. Just do brew install PostgreSQL. And it is installed. Earlier, you had to initialize database by yourself, but now Homebrew makes it by itself. So the only thing we actually want to do, if we want Postgres to be started at login, just to create this link into the launch agents. So, and now let's launch PostgreSQL. Excellent. So now we are totally ready to create our application. So let's do this. I'm gonna cd into ramch folder, and here let's create new application, and we call it i-rock with -T to skip tests because we're gonna use our spec, and the database is gonna be PostgreSQL. Okay, now let's cd into it, and let's initialize Git repository and add everything to it and create our first initial commit. Okay, nice. So first things first, let's start from README file. So I'm gonna go to ramchi rock README file, and first of all I'm gonna rename it to README-MD because I prefer Markdown. Now I'm gonna remove everything from here and paste here README text. Okay, so let's go back to terminal and commit this change. Okay. So now let's go to the database YAML file. So here in config folder, we have database.yaml file. And here we need to go to this iRock right here. And I'm gonna change it to my username, Ram here. By default, PostgreSQL is installed by Homebrew with the username as the username on your machine. So I'm gonna do the same thing right here in test, and let's save it. So now let's go back to terminal and let's run rakedb create. Okay, nice. Now rakedb migrate and rakedb test prepare. Okay, everything works. So let's commit change. Okay. So now let's set up our spec and capybara for our testing needs. So for that, let's open gem file, and here at the bottom I'm gonna add group development and test, and here we have our spec Rails and capybara. Let's save it, go to terminal and run bundle install. Okay, nice. Now let's run Rails generate our spec install to generate spec file, spec helper. Also, I prefer to use guard to auto-run tests in background upon file change. So let's set it up also. So right here, I'm also gonna add two gems. The first one is guard rspec, and the second one is terminal notifier guard, which makes this pretty macOS notifications right here. Okay, I'm gonna save it and again go to terminal and run bundle. Good. Now let's generate guard file. So we do bundle exec guard init rspec. Okay, so let's have a look. Here I'm gonna open guard file and it just watches the files, and we have here the Rails example and capybara features. We do not use turnip, so I'm gonna remove turnip from here and save it. Okay. Also, right here, I want to provide command bundle exec rspecs. This way tests will be run through the bundle exec. Okay, good. So now let's go to terminal and run bundle exec guard. Okay, we're ready. So now let's write our first test to make sure that everything works fine. For that, let's go to spec folder, and inside of it we're gonna create features folder, and inside of it we're gonna create file page welcome spec.rb. Okay, and we need to create this directory. Good. First of all, we need to require spec helper, and then we will use feature scenario DSL. So we do feature and we call it welcome page greets user, and inside of it we'll have a scenario. For now, guest user sees welcome message. Okay, so first what we're gonna do, we visit the root page, and after that we expect that this page to have content, let's say welcome. Okay, let's save it and let's go back to terminal and rerun guard. And now we are failing, and you can see here that we have this pretty notification. So we do not have route. So let's make this test green. So for that, let's open route.rb file, and inside of it we're gonna create route to welcome controller index page, like this. And you can see that guard has rerun tests, and now we're failing because we have initialized constant welcome controller, so we need to create welcome controller. So let's do this. In app controllers folder, we're gonna create welcome controller.rb. So here we have class, we call it welcome controller, which inherits from application controller. Let's save it, and now our test will tell us when we rerun it, so guard knows about this new file. It will tell us that we need to have this action called index. So let's go back here and let's define index action, save it, and now guard will tell us that we need template. So let's go back and go to views, and inside of this views we're gonna create folder welcome, and inside of it index html.erb. We need to create this directory and save this file. So now if we go back and rerun tests, we expect to find text welcome. Good, so tests actually helps us to develop application. How cool is that? Welcome, and now we should be green. Yes, we're green. Excellent. So let's commit this change. I'm gonna exit from guard, add everything, and commit it like rspec and capybara setup. So next I'm going to create GitHub repository for this project. So I go to github.com into my account, and I'm going to create new repository. I will call it iRock, and that's going to be a public repository. So just create it. Now all I need to do is just copy these 2 lines, go to terminal and paste them, and that will push code to the GitHub. Excellent. Now if I reload the page on the GitHub, I will see my repository, my application with README file. Excellent. We will deploy application to Heroku, and so it's a good idea to be as close to production environment as possible. So we'll use Unicorn and Foreman to run server in development. First, let's install Heroku Toolbelt. For that, go to toolbelt.heroku.com and download package for your operating system. I have already installed it. Now let's go back to our project and let's open gem file again. And inside of here, we'll just uncomment this gem unicorn. And again, of course, we need to run bundle. Great. Now we need to add configurations for the unicorn. So for that, let's create new file into the config folder. And we call it unicorn.rb. And I'm just paste simple unicorn configuration, which just deals with active records of disconnection and establishing connection before and after forking. So I'm going to save it. And also we need to have a proc file for the Foreman to run server. So let's create one. So we go to the root of the application and we're going to create proc file. And inside of it, we're going to define web bundle exec unicorn. So we run unicorn with the port, the default port, and we provide the configuration which resides in config unicorn.rb, like this. So now we need just to go to terminal and type Foreman, which is provided by Heroku Toolbelt, start. And that will fire up server. And you can see that we can go to localhost 5000. So let's have a look. I'm going to open a new tab and go to localhost 5000. And here we have our application, which welcomes us. Excellent. So the last step is to create Heroku application and push code there. So for that you need, of course, to register the Heroku account. And when you have this tool belt, to create Heroku application is very easy. You just do Heroku create. It will, of course, ask you for your credentials. And when you provide them, I've already done this, it will create new application. So it created Salty Ocean. So before pushing code to the Heroku, let's prepare assets. So for that, we run command rake assets precompile. And let's commit this change. Okay, now to push to the Heroku, we need to run command git push Heroku master. We add it, and of course the permission is denied because we need to set SSH keys for our Heroku. I'm gonna show you how to do that. First of all, we need to generate SSH key, and for that we use SSH keygen utility. Next, I need to provide some password. And now I have my SSH key. So now I need to provide this IDRSA pub portion of my key to the Heroku. So for that, I just do cat user folder SSH ID pub. Now I just copy this public key and go back to Heroku. And here I am on Heroku on my account page, and I scroll down to the SSH keys and paste it right here and add this key. So now if I go back to terminal and try to push to the Heroku again, it will ask me the password that I provided for this key, and I'm gonna remember it into the keychain. And now it pushes code to the Heroku, and then it will compile Ruby and install all gems and all dependencies. So it will take some time. Okay, our application is deployed to Heroku. So to have a look, let's go to the browser or just run the command Heroku open. And here it is, our application on the Heroku server. Welcome. Excellent. Okay, in this screencast, we set up development, testing, and production environments for our project. So now we have application which is ready to be developed. Thank you very much for your time, and see you later.